Well, welcome. And we hope you enjoy the show. It's a little bit different today. I'm Kelcey Carlson, and I'm going to be hosting the 1% Better podcast. Usually you see Craig as the host, but today we're turning the tables a little bit, and I'm going to interview Craig instead. So, Craig, is this a little awkward for you? You're used to asking the questions, and now you're on the spot.
Well, I love it because, first of all, I'm in good hands because you're the pro at this, and I'm excited about it and just being able to talk about it. So thank you so much for helping out.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the show, and I love your topics and I've loved the subject so far. You're only 1 year in, so this is still in its beginning stages, and you can grow this podcast so much in the years to come. So I'm excited to see what will happen next. But let's go back to the beginning and why Trissential began this podcast and how this all got started.
Yeah, it started as we were looking at, this is our 20th year in business. And so we said, what are some of the things that we can do? And we started just going back, what's changed and what hasn't changed. And one thing that hasn't changed is our mission. Our mission was always from day one to help make a positive impact on everyone we came in contact with. And we started talking about, different things that we could do. And of course, podcasts is a very popular channel these days, to say the least. And we thought, we've had just an amazing sort of run and blessing that we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of organizations and thousands of people. And we started just thinking about all these stories, and we focus where our organization is an improvement company. And so we help organizations improve technology and business process and strategy, and any sort of people process technology can help them achieve their goals. And we just started thinking of all of these amazing people that we've interacted with and stories of improvements. We said, well, what's better than sharing that? That's the best thing that we could possibly do to fulfill our mission, is to tell these stories so that people can learn. If one person learns from every show, you're now sort of extrapolating the benefit from that. And so that was the impetus of where it started. The name of the show actually goes back to a gentleman that I worked with really closely years ago. His name's Carl Populorum, and we had worked very closely together, and we had sort of accomplished a big client win, so to speak. It was quite large. It was like half the size of our company. We won in one engagement, and I started talking to him about we should write a book about this, because it was kind of a David and Goliath kind of a story, right? We were up against these large multinational global consultancies, and we sort of won this engagement. And he said, I've dreamt of writing a book. And I go, what's the name of this book going to be? And he goes, it's going to be 1% better. Like if we just keep doing 1% better. And for some reason that stuck with me. And of course, the notion of continuous improvement and lean, and now agile is all about continuous improvement. It's all about how you get better and better and better at what you do. And I think it applies to all walks of life, really. I mean, sports and anyone who's doing anything competitive. And so it just, to me, the first thing that came to mind was, what if we could share all these great stories, and if we could help everyone get 1% better, one thing per week or one thing per day, we're going to spread a lot of positivity. So that's the background, and it's taken off, more than I think we expected it to. And there's a few other shows that have that name, but hopefully it's not copyrighted or anything like that.
Well, just the idea that you just need to keep going. Right? Just forward motion is really the key. There's no big secret, but forward motion is the key for so many people. And I, like you, just find people so fascinating. And I just love to hear their stories and how I think whether you're 20 or 90, you're still learning in life. You're still trying to figure all of this out. And it's great to hear how other people are navigating this ever-changing world that we are living in. So I know you're a technology and data guy. So, and the podcast really is about the human story, but you probably look at some of the success and the numbers, and what have you found in the last year?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Like, we're brand new to this whole podcast scene. And so we from day one, it was never about trying to drive business or any sort of business metrics. We just said, no, that's not what this is about. It's 100% about how can we get these amazing stories out to as many people as possible. And so it is about clicks, and it is about impressions, I guess is the sort of technical term they use. And it's about listens and things. And that's really all that we care about, is just getting that word out. And, We did 16 episodes in season 1, and which in itself was amazing, because when you get into something, you don't know like who's going to want to be on this show, and are we even going to be able to keep it going. So that's the first thing, is that we just had such an amazing response of everyone that we talked to sort of jumped at the opportunity. But we did have over 1,000 listens. We've had it's hard to totally keep track, but we've had over 30,000 impressions on all the different platforms. They track, do people see it with their eyeballs? Mm-hmm. And so easily over 30,000. It could be somewhere between 30 and 50,000, because it's kind of hard to even track all that based on all the different platforms that we have. We are on all the platforms, right? So, the Spotify and Amazons and Googles and Apple, and now during the course of the season 1, we actually switched over to video. And again, didn't know, there's a learning on all this stuff. Mm-hmm. How do you even put a show together? And so adding the video is we think is going to help just reach. Everyone has their different sort of go-to apps and their go-to ways of consuming information. So that was, I think, for us, just seeing that it's consistently growing, not worried about hitting certain numbers, but it is reaching a lot of people. And so it's been a fun ride.
That's fun, and we like to share things, in this culture. It's like, hey, I heard this interview with this guy. Hey, take a listen to this because I like what he had to say. So, we like to share things. And this podcast, the whole world of podcasting is like that, where it's an intimate conversation, and then you just kind of like pass it on to somebody else too, who can use that information. What were some of the most memorable moments and guests for you?
Well, I guess the biggest thing was just so thankful about each and every guest that we have. I just got so much out of, and it was so impactful. So it's hard to even talk about a few without mentioning all of them. I mean, the first show was Shane Zutz, and Shane, and almost all the guests were people that I knew very well and personally. And Shane's episode kind of surprised us in terms of just how impactful it was, how authentic it was. His story is a great story, about completely shifting careers and just his sort of innate leadership abilities. That is still today our number 1 most watched episode. He has a pretty big following of people that follow his leadership newsletter. So that just got it off to a great start. And so very thankful for Shane. Then we jumped in with Arijit Sengupta, who's one of the sort of world leaders in this space called artificial intelligence, which is the biggest topic of the year. Mm-hmm. And so that was fun to just get him on and talk about that. And that was actually been 2 or 3 themes throughout all of the shows. That's one of them. Like the impact of AI is everywhere. So that was nice. And then we had really 3 just great leaders. And, you mentioned mentors. I would consider all 3 of these sort of mentors to me, and when it comes to leadership, and that's Paul Baatz, Finn Golding, and Krishna Kumar, and Tom Golding. And they are just amazing leaders. They've written books, and they're just unbelievable. Krishna is a global leader in coaching, and I went through his coaching program, went to study under him in India. Tom's a great friend and written a great book about leadership. And Paul, runs a great organization, does a lot in the Twin Cities in that space. So that was really fun to sort of deep dive in leadership. And again, that's one of the themes throughout all of our shows is leadership. It's a passion of mine, and it's something that I try to pull out of people. Kerrie Hoffman, it was fun because we started so long ago as she was a client of ours, and now we're partners. And so she always has got this energy and about her that kind of gets you excited. And then we had Keith Coursey, who, of course, is the CEO of Trissential. And so it's fun to go down memory lane. How did Trissential start in some of those early days, and what's changed and what hasn't changed? Then, of course, we had yours truly, or yourself, which was just a treat to have you and your inspirational story. And so that was a wonderful episode. And then Evan Laybourne, who's from Australia, and he just had this amazing story about courage, and he hit sort of a point in his life where he had to change, and how he went about that was I think very inspirational. I think a lot of people have felt that in their careers, like, I'm stuck, am I really doing the right thing? Polly Skaya, of course, she shared, she's one of our consultants, and shared just about how you can reinvent yourself, like, constantly. Like, she's had like 25 jobs, and she's just constantly reinventing. And that was so fun to see. And then John Sweeney, just unbelievable guy as far as like innovation and how you think about like never let anything get in your way. There's always a way, there's always a will, and just some of the things that he's done in his life, leading, the Brave New Workshop and just, the notion of innovation. Then of course, mutual friend of ours, Jeff Municky, just such a great guy. And just like, if you can dream something, like this is literally his dream job, right?
Yeah.
And he's been living it his whole life. And it's just so fun to see someone that just dreamt it and is living it. And he's so good at it. Of course, it's fun to see the Timberwolves have such great success on the court this year, but off the court, they've been having a lot of success for a long time due to Jeff. And then we finished up the season with just a heartbreaking story about someone who went through, something that anyone who's a parent can't even imagine. And then how she went through a child committing suicide and how she turned it into something positive and how she's living her life and impacting other people. So just an amazing wide range of people and topics. And again, just every episode I would record it and just go, wow, that was amazing. Like I got so much out of it personally, and then I'd re-listen to it later when we published it, and I got even more out of it. That I didn't really sort of pick up the first time. And so I just love the guests, and just so thankful that everyone shared their story with us and our whole audience.
It's such a strong reminder too, just how much we need each other, how much we feed off of each other and learn from one another. And the old fashioned having a conversation is so important in our world. But that will never go out of style. Were there any big surprises for you? I know you were diving into this whole world for the first time, so I don't know if you really knew what to expect, but what were some of the surprises?
I think the biggest surprise was how much I personally got out of every conversation. Like again, many of the people, the guests on the show are people I've known for a long time, professionally, most of them. But just to sit down and have, this was a 30 to 40 minute conversation. I learned something about every one of them that I didn't know before, because we just focused on having a conversation. It wasn't about business, or it wasn't about a certain topic or a certain event. It was just having a conversation and asking them about their background, how they think about things, how they reflect on their lives. And it's really an amazing experience to do that, because it's not common. I think it used to be generations ago probably that you would sit down and maybe do that with your grandma and grandpa or friends, because you just had so much time. In today's world, we're all so busy and focused that we don't really have a chance to just have a real conversation like this. So I was just surprised at the end of each one of these, how much I learned personally. And then it was a lot of fun for me to hear from so many people that said, hey, I go for a walk every morning. I listen to your podcast, and here's what I got out of this one. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think of that. And so it is having an impact on other people, and it's fun to hear that impact. The other surprise is just what a response, like everybody that we've asked to be on has sort of jumped at it. And I thought, wow, it's going to be hard to get people on. They're busy. And everyone is just so open to this format and so open to sharing about themselves and their life. It was just been really great to have such a warm reception of the people that, I know well, and just the people that we reach out to on it.
Well, I think that speaks a lot to your personality too. People feel comfortable around you, Craig. And so people feel safe with their story and what they're going to share, because you're just a very genuine person and you're very easy to talk to. So that I have to say that too. It's just very easy to have a conversation with you. There was a CBS reporter, he's still with CBS, I think, Steve Hartman. A long, long time ago, he did this series called Everybody Has a Story. Okay. And he would look up strangers in the phone book. This is before cell phones. And whoever he could convince to sit down and do an interview with him, he would just find their story, because everybody does have a unique story and something to share. And I think it's just so important for us to continue to make that happen. And so the 1% Better podcast will enter season 2 in the new year. And what are your plans for the new year? And how do you see this podcast evolving? And have you really thought about the entire year, or are you going to kind of see how it goes?
We are so excited for year 2. We're taking the month of January off just to sort of resettle and get into the new year. But we've already recorded, I think 3 episodes for season 2. And one of the observations I've had is, I was looking for a certain type of a person I thought would have broad appeal and would be interesting to people. And what I've learned is every single person, as you just said, every person has a story. Like, I think anyone could be on the show and we could learn from them and their life and their challenges and their accomplishments and trials and tribulations, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, I think there's something to be learned from everyone. So I think we're going to continue to just look for people that, have an interesting story and want to be on the show, and sort of go where that goes, go where sort of the guests go in their background, not try to drive it. Like at first I sort of had this idea, well, it's about leadership and it's about business improvement. But I think the more we sort of got off of those topics, like, we covered a lot of different types of people, and we've covered people that were going through career transition and personal trauma and overcome those challenges. And sometimes I think just letting it go where the guests go and who they are is probably the best guide for us. Clearly, we want to continue to get a bigger, audience, number of views, because that's why we're doing it, right? We want these amazing stories to get out to as many people as possible. Love the idea that we can do podcasts and give people the choice of just, audio and video, because everyone sort of learns differently. Some people have it on when they're going for walks and can't look at it. And some people can only want to see people live. So I think that's, we're excited. I think we're booked through April or something like that. And just kind of go where it naturally goes and just try to keep growing it. So keep it simple. The feedback is the time frame is about right, somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. It's not too much of a huge commitment, but it does allow you to get into some real conversations rather than just the headlines. I know in your world, it's like you only have so much time and you can only get maybe the headlines and one thing below and we have the luxury in this format to go deeper. And actually sometimes there is no script. And it's just wherever the conversation goes, it goes. So I think we're going to keep following that approach.
Good. Yeah. Podcasts are great for a car ride for me, the commute. So I think 30 minutes is a great amount of time because that's typical.
Right.
Or if you have a shorter commute, you can listen in 2 car rides.
Right.
I think it's great company to have in the car as you're headed to work or just heading out to get some errands. It's just nice to have that. It's literally like having company in the car when you're driving by yourself. So I love that. Well, you have this last question that you ask all of your guests. So we will ask you this too. Looking back at your long life and career, what is the best 1% better advice you would give you a younger version of yourself and your grandchildren, Craig?
Yeah, well, thank you. Every time I ask that question, I always think, how would I answer it? And I'm always surprised by the answers that I get. It's been a wide variety of answers that I've gotten from all the guests. So it is, most people, their first reaction is, even though I give them a little bit of a warning about it, they go, wow, that's a big question. And so I kind of feel like that right now. But when I look back, we all have sort of life lessons. And the first one for me is, just stay true to yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to follow someone else's plan or what society says is right or wrong or good or bad, or just stay true to yourself and your own values. That's number 1. 2 is what we've been talking about today, is just the incredible power of conversations. Like, you can go up to a stranger, you can go up to, I travel a lot, go up to someone in an airport, and it's incredible just meeting somebody. You can learn from everybody and the connections that you can make. You never know what one conversation can lead to. It's quite incredible. And a lot of these episodes are about, it boils down to, I had a conversation here once and it led to this, and I had a conversation with this person. And even these conversations have led me to other opportunities with these folks. So the power of conversations is amazing. This is my favorite saying in life, is you get more on what you focus on. So whatever it is you want, if you focus on it more, you will get more of that. So if you focus on your dreams, positive things, relationships, you're going to get more of those things. If you focus on negative, what I don't have, what I can't have, what I want, you're going to get more of that. And so I think that's a powerful idea. And then the last thing I would say is just never stop learning, like to the day I die. And I want to live to be 115 because there's so much I want to learn about this world and this universe. So never stop learning and never stop giving, because when you give, you always get more in return.
So true. I know the power of a conversation. Like you said, I've had so many interesting conversations with people that I just said hello to on an airplane, just sat down next to me. Oh, hey, has it been a long day? And then like the next thing like something evolves out of that conversation. And people we live in a technology driven world now, but the foundation of just human behavior and human conversation is so vital for existing. So we cannot stop doing this. You can't stop doing this podcast. You have to keep inspiring others.
We'll keep going. We got season 2. We'll keep going as long as we can. Thank you, Kelcey, for first of all being on the show and doing this. It's been a lot of fun. And I love working with you, and thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. It was great being a guest host today.
Thanks for listening to the 1% Better podcast. We hope you found it insightful and useful for your improvement journey. As always, you can access podcast transcripts and links to reference material at Trissential.com/podcast. If you would like to be a guest on 1% Better, you can do it on the same site. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, please like, share, or rate our podcast. Until the next episode, here's to getting 1% better every day.